Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for joining. Today is Pandava Nirjal Ekadasi, Bhima Ekadasi, probably the most important Ekadasi in the year, because by observing this Ekadasi, it's as if you observed all of the Ekadasis. So today we'll read the Katha, and we'll also do Ganga Puja. Always good to bathe in the Ganga on Ekadashi day. But yesterday was celebration of Ganga Puja. So because we did other things, we'll do Ganga Snan today.
Okay, so the description of Nirjal Ekadashi, which occurs in the month of May, June, is found in the Brahma Vairat Purana in the conversation between Vyasadev and Bhimsen. Bhimsen, the younger brother of Yudhishthira, inquired from the great sage Srila Vyasadev, "O most learned and worshipable grandfather, please hear my request. My elder brother Yudhishthira, Mother Kunti Devi, brothers Arjun, Nakul, and Sahadev, and Draupadi do not eat anything on the day of Ekadashi. They, especially Yudhishthira, always tells me that I should also fast on Ekadashi. I always tell them that though I know that to fast on Ekadashi is an injunction of the scriptures, I cannot bear my hunger, and therefore I'm unable to fast. I can give in charity as per my capacity. I can worship Lord Keshav with proper rules and regulations, but I cannot fast. So please instruct me, how can I obtain the result of Ekadashi without having to fast?" On hearing these words of Bhimsen, Srila Vyasadev said, "O Bhim, if you want to go to the heavenly planets and avoid the hellish planets, then you must refrain from eating on both the Ekadashis of each month." Bhim said, "O great sage, it is impossible for me to observe fast on 24 Ekadashis every year, as instructed by the Lord. What to speak of fasting day and night? I cannot even tolerate my hunger for even a moment. The fire of hunger known as brika is always present within my stomach, and it is extinguished only by voracious eating. But with great endeavor, I can fast only one day in a year. Therefore, please instruct me about a vow that I can follow to attain auspiciousness both in this life and the rest." Srila Vyasadev said, "O king, you have already heard from me about the Vedic religious principles, the duties of the human beings. But in this age of Kali, not everyone is capable of following those rules and regulations. Therefore, I will tell you about a sublime method by which you can achieve great results. This method is the essence of all the Puranas. Anyone who observes the Ekadashis of waning and waxing moons by fasting never goes to hell." Hearing Vyasadev's words, the strongest warrior Bhimsen became frightened and shivered like a leaf on a banyan tree and said, "Oh grandfather, what should I do? I'm totally unable to fast twice a month throughout the year. Therefore, my Lord, kindly instruct me about one vow that awards the most merit, and how by observing it I can achieve all benefits." Then Srila Vyasadeva replied, "The Ekadashi which occurs during the waxing moon in the month of May, June, during the sun's presence in either Taurus or Gemini Rasi, is called Nirjal Ekadashi. One should observe total fast even from drinking water on this Ekadashi. On this day, one should perform achavan for purification by drinking that amount of water in which a single mustard seed or a drop of gold can be immersed. One should place the said amount of water in his palm, held in such a way as to resemble a cow's ear. If one drinks more or less water than this, it will amount to drinking of wine. One must not eat anything at all on this Ekadashi, otherwise his vow will be broken. One should not drink even water from the moment of sunrise from the day of Ekadashi until the sunrise on the day of Dwadashi. In this way, if one strictly observes his Ekadashi without drinking water, then he can attain the results of observing all the Ekadashis of the year. And the early morning of the day of Dwadashi, one should take a bath and give gold and water in charity to the Brahmins. Therefore, the followers should gladly eat with the Brahmins. O Bhimsen, now please hear about the piety one accumulates by observing this Ekadashi. By following this Ekadashi, one can achieve the result of following all the Ekadashis throughout the year. Once Lord Vishnu, who holds a conch, a disc, a club, and a lotus flower in his hand, told me, if a person gives up all varieties of religion and surrenders unto me and follows this Nirjal Ekadashi, which is very dear to me, he is certainly relieved of all sinful reactions. One cannot attain the supreme destination by giving wealth in charity or attain any benefit by following smarter rules and regulations in Kali Yuga. In fact, the Vedic religious principles have been extinct in this age of Kali, which is polluted with various faults. O son of Vayu, what more can I tell you? Eating is actually prohibited on all the Ekadashis. Even the drinking of water is prohibited on Nirjal Ekadashi. By observing this Ekadashi, one achieves the piety of visiting all the holy places. At the time of death, such a person is not approached by the fierce-looking Yamduts. Rather, he is approached by the divine-looking Vishnuduts to be transferred to the abode of Vishnu. If one gives water and cows in charity after observing this Ekadashi, then he is freed from all his sinful activities. When the other Pandavas heard about the glories of this Ekadashi, they resolved to observe it. From that day onward, Bhimsen began observing this Nirjal Ekadashi, which became famous of Pandav Nirjal or Bhimseni Ekadashi. By following this Ekadashi, sinful activities as huge as Sumeru or Mandara mountain are at once burned to ashes. O king, Lord Krishna has declared that any pious activities such as taking bath in holy places, giving charity, chanting Vedic mantras, performing sacrifices that are carried out on this Nirjal Ekadashi day become inexhaustible. One who reads or hears the glories of this Ekadashi with devotion goes back to the abode of Vaikuntha. The result one attains by observing the vow of Amavasya, conjoined with Pratipad, and offering obeisance to the forefathers during the solar eclipse, is attained simply by hearing the glories of this Ekadashi. Pandav Nirjal Ekadashi ki jai.
Any questions, any comments? It's good to actually read this Ekadashi the day before so that we can observe it properly on the day itself. But, I think Mauritius is doing it tomorrow. So, okay, so let's start Ganga Puja. This is a verse in the Garga Samhita, Kalindya Agamana Varnana, text number 22 of chapter 3.
Yamunavacha, He Gange Tantu Tanyasi, Sarva Brahmanan Pavani, Krishna Pada Paja Sambhuta, Sarva Lekaika Vandita. Sri Yamuna said, O Ganga, you are fortunate. You purify all the universes. You are born from Lord Krishna's lotus foot. Everyone bows down before you alone.
So, glorification of Ganga Mata by Yamuna Mata. According to Garga Muni in the Garga Samhita, Yamuna Devi and Ganga Devi are gopis engaged in Krishna Lila. According to some spiritual commentators, they are expansions of Vishakha Devi. Krishna desired that both Yamuna and Ganga appear in the material world for the benefit of the fallen souls. So there is a river between the spiritual material world called the Viraja, which is actually the perspiration of Mahavishnu. This river is an expansion of also the Viraja Gopi. So this is the Viraja river here. Divides the material world from the spiritual world. This basically comes from the perspiration of Mahavishnu. Beyond the river Viraja is the spiritual nature, which is indestructible, eternal, inexhaustible, and unlimited. It is a supreme abode consisting of 3/4 of the Lord's opulence. How does she appear in our universe? It's described in many scriptures, especially Bhagavatam has a nice description of it. Lord Vamandev, let me just clear my throat. Vamandev, the 5th avatar of the 10 avatars, Matkachvarahana Singh Vaman, in Treta Yuga approached Bali Maharaj while the king was performing a sacrifice. So Bali Maharaj had conquered heaven and everything, had displaced the demigods. Demigods pleaded to Vishnu to help them. And he came as Vamandev, Brahmin boy. And he begged alms from the king in the form of 3 steps of land. And the king said, I can give you a whole island or a country. Why you just want 3 steps of land? Vamandev said, that's enough for me. So with his first step, he covered the earth. Second step, he covered all of the rest of the universe. And he pierced the covering of the universe with the left toe left big toe of his right foot. And that caused a few drops from the spiritual world to leak into our universe. There you go.
Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna, yes.
Vaman, did he expand in size, or it just was the small size when he pierced the layers?
No, he expanded. Yeah,
he expanded, yeah.
He expanded.
This is-
Right throughout, his body came right through the universe.
Oh my goodness.
Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing, yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then he brought himself back to normal. And then he said to Bali Maharaj, "You've broken your promise. You said 3 steps of land. You only given me 2." And then Bali Maharaj said, "Okay, you can put your lotus feet on my head. That can be your 3rd step." And that pleased Vamandev so much. So this water flowed into the universe. It came from both the Yamuna and the Ganga. And this is according to Garga Samhita 3.6. With Sri Ganga entering that opening, the Yamuna, the best of rivers, then came to the unconquerable Lord's abode of Vaikunta in the planet of Maharaj Dhruv. That's 3.7. So they entered. They didn't want to come necessarily down the universe. They decided to stay at Dhruv Maharaj's planet because that is still part of the spiritual world. Together, Ganga and Yamuna first flowed into Dhruvlok. Then they actually flowed into the planets of the 7 sages. The 7 sages begged them, "Please come, purify the heavenly planets." So they also did that. They went to the heavenly planets. And then later they parted way, Yamuna flowing through Mount Kalinda, that's known as Kalindi. She became known as Kalindi. Then flowing into the Pandava forest and marrying, so flowing through Vrindavan, and marrying Krishna eventually as one of the 8 principal gopis, wives rather. In the meantime, Ganga remained flowing through the different heavenly planets. She didn't want to come to Earth. And there was 2 reasons. One was she knew Earth won't be able to tolerate the force, her force. But second, she knew that sinful men would take advantage by getting rid of their sinful reactions and bathe in her water. So she didn't want to keep those sinful reactions. Anyway, so what happened? In Treta Yuga, in the Ikshwaku's dynasty, King Sagar, who had 60,000 sons, was trying to perform a horse sacrifice. The horse was stolen by Indra and hidden near Kapil Muni's ashram in Patalok. And Patalok is in the nether regions. So the sons of Sagar, King Sagar, 60,000 of them, they went looking for the horse, and they eventually found the horse near Kapil, and they became offensive to Kapildev. And Kapildev simply opened his eyes and caused a whole lot of burning within the bodies of the 60,000 sons, and they all died. Now, Kapil wasn't actually the cause of that. It was just his tapasya was so strong. It just caused this heavy burning sensation within the bodies of the 60,000 sons. Anyway, Kapildev then, people started looking for the children, the sons, and eventually their nephew, Anshuman, he came. And Kapildev advised him, "You should petition the Ganga to come and free your ancestors." So they tried, but they failed. Anshuman's son, Dilip, also tried. Dilip's son, however, Bhagirath, was successful because his tapasya was very powerful, and he forced Ganga to come. And he promised Ganga Mata that don't worry about the earth, Lord Shiva will break your descent. So don't worry. And he also promised her that when you come, not only sinful people will come, but saintly people will bathe in your waters and purify you of all the karma. So this is wonderful, wonderful. So Ganga Mata agreed, yes, I will come. And Bhagirath, he led Ganga. There you go. He's walking in front, she's walking behind. And this is the journey now. okay, before we go into the journey, when Ganga Mata proudly fell on Lord Shiva's head, he calmly trapped her in his hair. And eventually he let her out when she prayed for his forgiveness, because she was a little proud, thinking, oh, Shiva, he has to take Lord Shiva to bring me down. So he humbled her. Once Ganga Mata came down to earth on her way to Bhagirath and the nether regions, her rushing waters created turbulence. It actually destroyed the fields of this sadhu called Janu. He was really powerful. And this was near, actually, Mayapur. So we celebrate this Janu Saptami. We did that a few months ago. Anyway, he drank the water. He drank all of Ganga. So you can see these sadhus are so powerful. And then she prayed to him. And eventually, Bhagirath prayed. Bhagirath prayed. That's right. And he let her out of his right ear. So she continued the flow. So she's also known as Janvi, the daughter of Janu. And Nityananda spoke to Jiva Goswami about Jannagara, where they saw the enchanting hermitage of Janu Muni. This enchanting place named Janudvip is known as Bhadravan. At this place, Janu Muni underwent penance and received darshan of the golden form of Gauranga. This is according to Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the Srinavadita Mahatmya. So anyway, we're not celebrating Janu's Saptami today, but it's just to let devotees know that this is one of the things that happened on the journey of Ganga Mata to earth. Okay, so let's go down the Ganga Sagar, the safari. So here's the source of the Ganga. This is in the Himalayas, deep inside. And very close to there is a place called Gangotri, or Gomukh, in fact, Gomukh. It's a bit further from Gangotri. So we're going to take this journey and flow down from Gangotri through the Bhagirathi. She's called many things. She's had many sort of divisions, and they will merge into this flow here at Devprayag.
It's 5, isn't it?
5. Pindaganga,
1, 2, 3, 4,
Alkananda, Mandakini, Bhagirathi. And this is Yamuna,
yeah?
So this is 1, 2, oh, and then Nandikini, Nandakini. Even there's the one, Dolikonga. Okay, so we can go to Gomukh first, which is very close to the glaciers. Yes, anyone.
The 5 origins, are they all the origin of Ganga? These are tribulates.
Yeah.
Except the Yamunotri here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except the Yamunotri, yes. Yamunotri is 6, but these 5 ones. So
I see. Yeah. That's correct.
They all originate from different places then.
Yes, because she's quite, huge. Ganga is huge.
Yes. So we know. So it originates from Kedarnath as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Badrinath,
Mandakini.
Mandakini.
Okay.
Thank you. One day it's worth visiting these places.
Yeah.
Gomukh is a fascinating place. The glacier is there. This is the glacier. In fact, you have to go a little further than Gomukh to reach to the glaciers. It's Tapovan. And it's said that great sages are still there meditating.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's very, very cold, of course, because of the glaciers, mountainous area. And hard to reach those places.
Have you been there?
Gomukh, yes. Beyond that, there was no way of going.
Still very cold in Gomukh as well.
Extremely cold. Yeah. Because the glacier is touching distance.
We went in July and we still had to wear our thermals and
cold. And here, the Ganga actually is mainly ice. And we bathed in her, and it was cold, but it was very refreshing, of course.
Is it shallow? Shouldn't be deep water there?
It
it's
is by the shore. You can just go in a little bit.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's quite fast flowing as well, so you have to be
Mm.
careful.
Is there any protected area?
Not there,
Not there.
No.
but it's a little shallow where we bathed.
Mm.
But there is the fast part of it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we can do the prayer. Om Pavitra Pavitro Va Sarvavasa Gato Bhiva
Yasmare Pundarikaksham Sapaya Bhayantara Suchi Jal Vishnu Jal Vishnu Jal Vishnu.
So this prayer is basically praying to Varun Dev or Jal, water that purify me inside, outside, and inside I'll be purified by chanting the holy names of the Lord. So we pray to the Ganga Mata to also purify us, and we can dip into the Ganga, and 3 times we can do that. Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai. And just by thinking like that, by imagining in the dipping, it's like you're dipping. You're getting the benefit of the dip into the Ganga. So then the next place from Gomukh is Gangotri. Now Gangotri is a fascinating place. And there, not even the Ganga moves very fast. It's fierce, fierce. And they have good protection. They have railings here where you hold on and you can go into the Ganga, but very careful because it's fast flowing. It's very noisy. It's like you can't hear yourself think because it's so fast. The noise is due to the fast river. And they do Ganga Aarti here, morning, evening. Fascinating to see. And you can see the Himalayan range of mountains. And it's a beautiful little town they have there with many sages doing meditation, tapasya. There's some very nice waterfalls which give you a backdrop to some fascinating sounds and sights. And one of the best restaurants in the world is here. It costs you about 10 rupees for a meal, maybe 20 now. And you can sit there and you have the most amazing view of Gangotri. It's just a fascinating place.
You're not going there, are we?
No.
No, I did tell look, but yeah,
Oh.
it's 2 days out of our
Schedule.
journey. Yeah, so because it's
Yeah.
8 hours from Haridwar.
Mhm.
It's the place where I must admit, I want to go back at some point to stay for some time there. It is one place.
I was thinking that
Yeah.
must be lovely to stay there. And so it must be very like transcendental atmosphere.
Phenomenal. And you know, one restaurant we went to, I said, I want to cook. When I come, I will cook myself. And he said, yes, yes, come and cook, no problem. So that's one of the things that, one of the reasons I want to go there. You can cook your own meals, and it is a fascinating place.
There must be ashrams there to stay as well.
Oh, that's hotels as well.
There's
Hotel.
ashrams, there's hotels. Yeah. It's a magnificent place.
Mhm.
Magnificent place.
Let's go next year.
Yeah, we should try this one. Gangotri, yeah, we should go.
And Kedarnath,
Yeah, see, the others I'm not so keen.
Badrinath.
But Gangotri is, I have to say, I fell in love with that place. Such an amazing place. Yeah, let's aim for next year.
Mm.
And then on the way down from Gangotri is Dev Prayag. Dev Prayag is where the Mandakini and meet with Ganga. And you can see the rivers are slightly different colors.
That's Yamuna as well.
Maybe because Yamuna also flows.
If you go back to the
Yeah, let's go back. Yeah. Yamuna.
you're
Yeah,
right.
no, Yamuna's here. So
It's all the tributaries
Yeah.
of the Ganga meeting, becoming one big river
Mm.
in the Prayag.
yeah, so you can see them joining up there. Traditionally, it's considered to be the place where Sage Dev Sharma led his ascetic life. giving birth to its present name, Devprayag. It is one of the 5 sacred confluences in the hills and is an important place of pilgrimage for devout Hindus. Devprayag means godly confluence in Sanskrit. As per Hindu scriptures, Devprayag is a sacred event. Of merging 2 visible heavenly rivers, Alkananda and Bhagirathi, to form the holy Ganga. It is believed that a 3rd river, the mystical Saraswati River, is underground and meets these 2 rivers at the confluence, which originates from the Manar village in Badrinath. Again, Badrinath is a fascinating place to go. In Devprayag, the river comes from the feet of Sri Raghunath Ji in Raghunath temple. Also, according to tradition, the footprints of Lord Rama are purported to exist at Ram Kund. We didn't spend too much time in Devprayag, but this is the next big place where we are going, Rishikesh. It's Rishi is, of course, Saints, Kesh, the residence of saints. So fascinating temples here, and a lot of ashrams where yogis live with their disciples. Very healthy living place. And again, we didn't do Ganga Mai Ki Jai yet. Go Gangotri, let's do it. And Devprayag. So, Gangotri. Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai. I hope you're holding on to the railings there. And Devprayag, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai. And then Rishikesh, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai. There, Ganga is a little less fast flowing, perhaps because of all these turns and corners. And there's a very nice bridge or 2, Lakshman Jula and Ram Jula, where you can cross from one side of the Ganga to the other side. And on the other side, there's many, many ashrams. Fascinating place, absolutely amazing place. And this is the famous Harikipur Haridwar, where again Ganga Aarti takes place at this place every morning, evening. Here, when somebody passes away, I mean, if they die nearby, they would bring the body and cremate it here, put the ashes in the Ganga.
Not this actual place, but further away.
Bit further away, yeah. And we did the Asti of our mother here, this place here. And there's loads of Brahmins who are very obliging. They do the ceremonies very nicely. They sit in this little hut here all day long and serve all the pilgrims. And also there's a very, very wonderful facility where we can feed the pilgrims. For like 10 rupees, you can give them puri, sabji, and some sweet or something. And you can literally feed thousands if you want to. Amazing place. And this is the clock tower. This is considered to be probably the most famous part of Haridwar. And we bathe here. Again, this Ganga here flows quite fast. So you have to hold on to the chains. And beautiful place. Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai. So we usually stay at a hotel just nearby here, which has the balcony, which is on the Ganga. So it's very, very nice. You can spend all day in the room if you wanted to.
On the balcony.
Yeah.
Sitting in the balcony, looking at the Ganga.
Fascinating place. Anything else? Haridwar. There's many places, many things in Haridwar actually. We should keep a record of where we want to go. Kanpur is the next stop. We've never been there, but it is known as Kanpur. It's a metropolitan city in the state of Uttar Pradesh, Bharat. Founded in 1803, Kanpur became important military and commercial station. Nestled on the banks of the Ganga, Kanpur stands as a major financial and industrial center of North Bharat, and is also the 9th largest urban economy in Bharat. Today is famous for its colonial architecture, gardens, parks, and fine quality leather products, which are exported mainly to the West.
Yeah, they had the British had their barracks there, army barracks there.
Now, lovely holy place, Prayag, also known as Allahabad. And here the Triveni meets, Ganga, Yamuna, and Saraswati. And many devotees come and they do their Pindadan ceremonies for their fathers and mothers. You can go into the middle of the Triveni. Here you can see Yamuna, here you can see Ganga. And they say separate, which is quite amazing. And the boat will take you in the middle where they meet. Saraswati is underground. And you can do, the Brahman will come as well. It's a whole package deal. You can do a Ganga Snan. And I think we went there, right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Oh, yeah.
I
And at
don't
that
think
time,
we couldn't go to the boat.
yeah, it was too busy at that time. Yeah, it was the
Kumbh
Mini
Kumbh
Kumbh
Mela.
Mela was there.
Yeah, and it was one incredible journey to get there and have a bathe. But we managed it, so it was good. So fascinating place. Ganga Mai ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai. The beauty here is, of course, you also got Yamuna, so we can also dip into the Yamuna. Yamuna Mai ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai, Yamuna Mai ki jai. Now Yamuna here is okay, but I think later on the industries, they really sap Yamuna of all her waters. So I'm not quite sure what we get in Vrindavan, but it's such a shame. I think maybe the Modi government is making changes, but I hope they really make a big difference here. And then we come down to Varanasi, another fascinating place, which has all these fantastic ghats on the river, Ganga river, and you can visit these different ghats and bathe in the different ghats, and lots of beautiful temple. Vishwanath, Vishwambar, Lord Vishwanath, isn't it? Vishwanath, Lord Shiva. His one of his biggest temples is here, most famous temple. And here it's, if one passes away here, he'll come and chant the name in your ear, Lord Shiva, of Lord Ram. Yeah, thank you, Lord Ramachandra. So this is amazing place, and I think there's a very nice sari shop around here somewhere, which
climbed up. Yes, it's quite.
Yeah, so fascinating place. And I think when we went, there was a lot of pollution, but I think they've sort of cleaned it up now, made it a lot better. And I think we stayed all the way down here somewhere. It was really amazing place, which Jayanti found a very nice place, actually. Fantastic place. So, Ganga Mai ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai. Yeah, Varanasi is a place where, at least once in one's life, it's worth visiting and enjoying the fantastic spiritual experience. Now, Bihar, Patna, never been there, is an ancient city that sprawls along the south bank of the Ganga in Bihar. In Patna, the river Ganga once flowed along the city, but it moved 5-6 kilometers away from the city in the past 30 years. That's a big shift. So this is the potency of Ganga. She can move, she can shift herself. Now we go to Navadvip in Mayapur. And again, Ganga is a little fast flowing. Many devotees have drowned, actually, maybe purposefully or not, but have to be careful. This is the TOVP, Temple of Vedic Planetarium, where they are making the most amazing temple. This is Prabhupada's Samadhi here. And then we have the different buildings which house the...
I thought Prabhupada's Samadhi was in Mumbai, no?
Oh, it's everywhere. His Samadhi is everywhere.
Oh, there must have bits of ashes everywhere, is it?
Oh, no. Sorry, Samadhi is in Vrindavan and Mayapur.
This is the Pushpa Samadhi.
This is the Pushpa, flower garland, which he was wearing when he passed away.
Okay.
Have here. The actual Samadhi is in Pandava. That's right. So here, we're hoping that this little building here will be built soon, because we've got a little residence in there. So hopefully when we go, we might be able to see some part of it. So it should be interesting. So the Ganga flows past here, and sometimes the Ganga in the rainy season will come and take darshan of Radha Madhav, maybe even wash their feet. So can really rise very high. So Ganga Mai ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai. And now we move all the way down to Ganga Sagar. And from here, she will continue her journey into the nether regions, the lower planetary systems. Calcutta is here. And again, we've never been here, but this is where it hits the Bay of Bengal. And again, devotees bathe here. Ganga Mai ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai, Ganga Mai ki jai. And that's the end of the tour down the Ganga. Parents on earth, Himavan, the personification of the Himalayan mountain, and Minavati, the daughter of Mount Meru. She's also the adopted daughter of Rishi Janu, as we discussed. Hence, she's known as Jahnavi, Dharmapatni of King Shantanu, and had a great son called Bhima. Also, according to Shiv Puran, she's the wife of Shiva.
Is she King Shantanu, the same one who was it is his wife?
Yeah, Gangamata married him. And she drowned the first, how many? Seven children.
Six.
Was it six?
Seventh one was the Bhima.
Was it like that? Seventh, okay. That's right.
No.
7 Vasu, 6 Vasus.
7 Vasus.
Yeah, I can't remember now. And yeah, there you go. Mother of Devrat. And also Kartikeya. Sister of Viraja and Yamuna. Appearing in the Himalayas, Ganga is considered a sister of Parvati as well, who is the daughter of the Himalayas. Very interesting. Padma Puran states Ganga water, when purified 1,000 times, become Yamuna. So Yamuna is very powerful, especially as Krishna has so many pastimes in Yamuna, right from the beginning of his pastimes on earth. But due to Ganga Devi's association with Chaitanya, who used to bathe in the Ganga during his Navadvip Leela, she is not less than the Yamuna. Thus, Ganga and Yamuna are to be considered like spiritual sisters, as is Viraja, and most dear to Gauranga and Krishna. In Vraj, Krishna once manifested Ganga at Govardhan. That's Manasi Ganga. We will have darshan there. That lake is known as Manasi Ganga. And on that lake, Krishna performed wonderful boating pastimes with Radha and gopis. So this is...
I think we have been here.
Yes, correct. And we'll be going again.
Yes.
Fascinating place. And he had such wonderful pastimes. One time he took the boat into the Ganga and they didn't know. He disguised himself as the boatman. And in the middle of the Manasi Ganga, he started sinking and he told them, "Wow, man, you're carrying too many things. Tip them all over. The pots of milk and whatever else." And he was still sinking. So he said, "Well, your jewelry is far too heavy. Take it off and throw it overboard," which they did, of course. Then he said, "Oh, still sinking. Your clothes, take them off." And at that time, they realized this is none other the naughty Krishna. His game was up. And then they caught hold of him and gave him a thumping. So the 7 ways of worshipping Ganga: by calling out her name, just calling out Ganga, having darshan of her, which we did, by touching her water, we bathe it, by performing arti, by bathing, we bathe it as well, standing in her water, in the waters of the river, carrying clay dug out of the river. You can worship these different ways. Lord Krishna, while describing his opulence in the Bhagavad Gita, he says in chapter 10, text 31, "Of flowing rivers I am the Ganga." Just as Bhagirathi brought the Ganga to Bharat, Prabhupada also brought the Bhakti Ganga to the world. So we're really lucky. Prabhupada inundated this world with Bhakti Ganga. So her other names, Bhagarathi, Jahnavi, Nikita, Janukanya, Sapteshwari, Sureshwari, Bhagavati, Vaishnavi, Vishnupadi, Mandakani, Gangika, Gange, Alkananda. Some of the glories of Ganga Mata are described in conversation between Shonak Rishi and Sutta Goswami. This is in the Kalki Puran. By bathing in her water, all one's sinful reaction are vanquished. By pleasing Ganga Devi, one can easily gain release from the bondage of material existence. One who serves Mandakini Ganga is always victorious and is considered a master of everyone. One who recites or hears these prayers from the Kalki Puran, chapter 34, either in the morning, at noon, or in the evening, will receive the association of Ganga Devi. And all his sinful reaction will be eradicated, and his strength and duration of life will increase. And this Ganga is so kind. She also has appeared in Mauritius. And Karuna, would you like to share about Mauritius and the Ganga Talau?
Yes, so this is the Ganga Talau, and there was a Hindu man from the north of the island, so he had a dream that this lake was Ganga Devi. So at that time there were jungle forests everywhere, so they had to make a way, cutting down bushes, trees, and sleeping in the mud. And then he actually found the lake, and now we have so many roads leading to there, and so many temples have been built. And we have the temple where we have all the avatar of Sri Vishnu, who Guru Maharaj left this temple. So it's a very sacred place for us. We go and worship Ganga Devi and all the different deities that have been installed there. So really nice. And the most auspicious moment is Mahashivratri in February or March. So there, and that day, 4 days before, we have all Hindus walking from different towns and villages. They walk and go to Ganga Talau and do their prayers, and then we come back. So really nice time that we have in Mauritius when we have Mahashivratri. It's like a festival, spaciousness everywhere. It's very nice.
Is it well maintained and clean water?
Oh yes, very well clean.
Oh.
Recently we had a small problem there, so the government said that no, it's a sacred place, so we have to be very careful. So now we have policemen every day guarding, so it's good, well maintained. Yeah, really nice.
And devotees bathe in the Ganga in there?
Yeah, there is a little corner that I have seen people going and have bathe. But what we do, we take the pot and just sprinkle over.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, it's not really. We have to be very careful. It's not dangerous going inside, but it's a lake, so it's slippery. We never know what can happen. So don't go inside.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So let's do Ganga Mai Ki Jai there as well. Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai. And Guru Maharaj was very, very impressed with the place. He loved going there. So
yeah,
he loved telling us about it as well.
Each time he comes to Mauritius, he would go there. Even if he couldn't walk, he said, no, we'll go by car. He'll just have a look around and then he'll come back. But as soon as we reached there, he said, no, I can walk, I can go. So we had so many steps, stairs to go there. So but he would go. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for sharing that. Anything else, Naliben? Any questions? Any comments?
No, very nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for participating so nicely. Ganga Devi Ki Jai.